I'm Lauren with Pack Hacker, and today we're going to be talking about the Away Packable backpack, which I've been testing for the last 2 weeks. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up so we can keep helping you find the right gear. Let's get into it. So starting off with the materials here, we have a 100% recycled nylon. So obviously you can't feel this, but if you look at it, it's a very, very slick material and it's really smooth to the touch. Honestly, it's super comfortable. When we first got this into the office, we all kind of went around and were feeling it because it is a really, really soft material and it looks really slick as well, just kind of from a style standpoint. So obviously it's a packable bag, so you're going to have a little bit of your items coming through, just depending on what you're packing. So that is a downside if that's something where you really, really like aesthetics. It is, you can tell, a little bit more on the square side, but if you don't have this fully packed like I have it, and I can show you that later, it does get a little bit angled at the top and it is a little bit more rounded. So you do have a little bit of room to play with it, but something to keep in mind. So the backpack itself is pretty comfortable to wear. It's 19 liters, so it doesn't have a ton of capacity where you're going to be carrying a load of gear, but if you do, these straps here, these shoulder straps have a very slight amount of padding, and when I say very slight, I mean you can tell it's structured just a little bit, but it is really comfortable to wear. So no matter how much I had packed in here, I did find that it was comfortable on my shoulders and overall sat pretty well. There is the adjustability down here as well. So you can kind of, the backpack can be whatever length you need it to be. Obviously, just kind of pulling that way or tightening it up, pretty easy. And then there's also the luggage pass-through on the back here, so you can use it if you have additional away luggage or if you just have any other sort of rolling luggage. But it does fit pretty slim to the back, so I never felt as if it was in the way, even if the bag wasn't packed out super well, or super full rather. So all of the hardware on this is Duraflex hardware, and all of these zippers are YKK zippers. So that's something that gives us durability, confidence, and additionally, all of the stitching on the seams here is really tight. So I had no issues with loose threads or anything of that sort. Overall, the outside of the bag is really, really sturdy, quick to grab. If you have any sort of blemishes like this, I guess you can pull it up a little bit more. You can see it's showing through a little bit, but just a little bit of water on a rag will get that right off. And then this carry handle up top here, it's folded over and stitched for a little bit of extra padding, so it is comfortable for quick grabs too. So very slight branding up here, otherwise very minimal. So getting onto the inside of the bag, so you have the buckles here, and then a cinch cord. So the cinch cord itself I have bowed up, and it is pretty long. So with this bag fully cinched, I mean, that's a good amount of material. Granted, it makes sense. That's kind of how cinch cords work. But when it took a little bit of getting used to for me to figure out how I wanted to organize the cords. So what I ended up doing was, just a simple loop and tying a bow. Or if you want to, you could always do it where, you do this sort of thing, but I always get confused when I do this, and I mean, that's user error, right? Obviously it's a little bit something that you get used to, but you can always do that sort of thing and tie it on both sides. But then I found that to be annoying because every time you have to get in, you would have to untie it, as I have to do right now. So opening it up, you do have a pretty wide mouth here. All of that elastic goes away and fits in very nicely. It doesn't pull or catch on things, or at least it didn't for me. And then in here I have this fairly packed out. So again, here's kind of what it looks like. on the outside. And then if you were to, you know, take out, say, a packable jacket and a hoodie and, you know, a laptop, for instance, and then laptop stand, just gotta get all the big stuff out of here. And then you were to do this, tie it right back up. And then buckle it back together. It is significantly flatter. So it does kind of have a floppy design to it. And that's a lot of packable bags. I mean, that's something to be expected. You're only, because it is so flexible, you're only really gonna get the shape of whatever you pack inside. So something to keep in mind. I didn't really carry a ton for a day-to-day basis, but if you're doing something like going on a day trip or, you know, going to the beach and you want to carry a bunch of stuff, then this would be great for that because it can hold quite a bit of gear. I mean, you know, these here are pretty substantially large, and they fit in here pretty well. So in here I also have a tech pouch and a flannel. I'm getting ready for fall here, and then a hat. And then I believe that's it. So otherwise it's just a pretty empty bucket for you to kind of slot things into. And then there is this zippered pocket on the inside here. So this is fairly large. You can really put whatever you want in here. I mostly did a wallet for security, and then, you know, any small items. If I didn't have, excuse me, if I didn't have a tech pouch, I would need to have somewhere to put things like this. So I mostly put them in this pocket here. And then on the outside, if you want any quick storage, you can definitely do it on the outside as well. There is a little pocket here, which I'll get into in a little bit. But, you know, say you empty out this pocket here and this pocket here, and you just have, you know, a blank slate. So you can zip this back up, and then right here is actually a tab where you can put the packable bag. So this acts as storage so that you don't just have to toss it into the bag, which is a really nice touch, just because, you know, if you just were to throw that in there, it could get lost, or you could forget about it, or, you know, it just makes storage a little bit easier. So what you do to pack this bag up is kind of buckle it all together, make it, you know, nice and neat. And then let me actually unzip this right now. So you are going to, actually, yeah, pack it this way. So the straps are in, just fold it a third, fold it another third, and then you've got kind of this nice little roll here. And then 1/3, 1/3, and then it fits within here. I found that it was a little bit difficult to put inside, you know, unlike other packable jackets that pack into their own pocket. You do have to have, you know, kind of all hands on deck here. A lot of the times I just use my body as additional support, but for the sake of the video here, I'm just going to do it with the 2 hands. So you just kind of wiggle it in there, and then you've got this little pouch. So you can tell in comparison to my hand, it's pretty compact here. So this is something that's great if you want to bring it along with you and then use it as your day bag when you get to your destination. Or if, you know, you have storage issues at your apartment and you don't have a ton of space for big bags or anything like that, then this is great because you can just kind of tuck it away and then it's there when you need it. So taking it back out, just pull it out, flatten it out, and it's good to go. So I'm going to pack this thing right back up. There is actually, I just noticed this, there is a little bit of a loose thread right here. So I didn't see that before. It looks like it's coming from inside where the elastic is from. And this is actually the first, you know, loose thread that I've seen. And then come back in, hook that to here, just a quick little buckle, and then you're good to go. So say, you know, I'm loading this back up, And then I want to put all my stuff in. It does take a little bit of finagling. So I usually start at the bottom with, you know, any softer clothing, or this, you know, hat, to just kind of give it a little bit of structure down at the base. And then for the sake of packability, we'll just stick this guy in here, leave out the other jacket, and then, you know, throw the tech pouch in. So now we've got kind of this bag that doesn't really have a ton of structure to it, but is still pretty wide. Buckle it back up. And there you go. So there is adjustability with these buckles. I currently have them in these strap keepers, but you don't have to put them in there. So they do limit, you know, how far you can actually adjust if you do have them in there. So if it's fully packed out, you know, it's kind of the right amount, or at least for me. But if you do feed them through, they do get a little bit caught. So as you can see, struggling to get them back out a little bit. And there we go. So that just kind of keeps it neat and tidy. It's kind of up to you if that's something that you like. I personally like to just be able to grab it and pull it as needed. Obviously, you can't really go beyond the seam, but something to keep in mind if you do like that neater look. It's a nice touch, just a little bit hard to get in and out very quickly. But, you know, if you wanted to adjust it there, you can still adjust it with the strap keepers. I usually just kept it out because I didn't really mind them just flapping around a little bit. And then, say for instance, with this pocket here, you want to put your phone in. It does show the shape a little bit as well, just because it is that flexible material. So something to keep in mind. I pretty much left this unused unless I really needed to, just because I like the aesthetic when the bag was just kind of laying flat. But it did make getting inside pretty clunky. So if you want to keep your wallet or your phone here for easier access, that's totally up to you. I found myself keeping it on the inside and then just making sure I had what I needed when I needed it, and then trying to minimize going in and out so much. Also with this 13-inch laptop, I was able to fit it in, as you saw at the beginning of the video, but that does make your laptop kind of act as a frame sheet since there is no structure to this bag otherwise. So something to keep in mind if you're not really into doing that with your tech. If you're not so worried about it, I have mine in a sleeve here to add a little bit of extra protection, and since I didn't have anything really heavy or clunky in here, I wasn't so worried about it. But I wouldn't really consider this a laptop backpack just because it is lacking that structure to keep your tech pretty safe. So there you have it, the Away Packable Backpack. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next video.